Hello all and welcome to your Christmas Eve beer review. It's the night before Christmas Eve. I have to work tomorrow night and I have to work Christmas because that's just the way my job is, unfortunately. But thank goodness there's beer for those days I don't work. At least for now. And the beer we're going to be reviewing, Old Rasputin Russian Imperial Stout. This is from the North Coast Brewing Company out of California. 0.9 ABV, which is about as heavy as an Imperial Stout should be. Let's read the label, shall we? Brewed in the tradition of 18th century English brewers who supplied the Russian court of Catherine the Great, Old Rasputin develops a cult following wherever it goes. It's a rich, intense brew with big, complex flavors and a warming finish. So I've let this, kind of warm up a little bit since I took it out of the refrigerator. You kind of want it at about 45-50 degrees. Still a little bit on the cold side, but it should warm up fairly quickly once I put it inside the glass. Ooh. Okay, maybe pour it a little bit too much. Oh no, just a little bit. Okay. Poured it a little bit too fast, so a little bit of run over there, but that's okay. A couple fingers of brown head, very thick. Almost like you can see how thick it is. It's just kind of blooming over the top here. With a pretty much opaque black coloration. There's only a little bit of light coming through the bottom and it's brown color. Immediate in the nose is some nice chocolate notes. Bittersweet chocolate. Underneath that, light roasted coffee notes. Some graininess there. And almost a smell of like toasted marshmallows to boot. This is somebody put like toasted marshmallows on top of a nice dark, mocha or something like that. The head has just this wonderful... I suck the head off so I can drink it, but I suck the head off. I haven't been drinking, okay? So I took off the head. It's just this wonderful silky feeling in the mouth. I'm going to have to really wash this glass. It's dripping all over the place. Fairly light mouthfeel for the style, but the taste is still incredibly intense. What I mean by that is still getting pretty much a full spectrum of the Imperial Stout taste there, but it doesn't feel oily on the mouth. It feels exceptionally silky. In the front, bittersweet chocolate that moves to a very roasted espresso taste. Then, in the finish, got that bitter roast taste, along with a nice hint of bittering hops, a bit more of a presence of bittering hops in the finish than usually I would get with most of the Russian Imperial Stouts I've had, but still very much within the style. It's not like black IPA or anything. Thank God. There's a certain amount of nuttiness, a very subtle nuttiness to it as well. Dark toasted bread, like somebody toasted pumpernickel. What I'd like to really emphasize, though, is just a mouthfeel. It's just a glorious sort of mouthfeel. And dangerously drinkable at 0.9 ABV. Almost no booziness to it, hence the dangerous drinkability. As it warms up, I'm getting some stone fruit flavors in the front and in the finish after the sort of roasty notes start declining. I'd really like to try this with the sort of nitro because of that silkiness. I'm kind of wondering what it'd be like to have this on nitro. I know a lot of people don't like nitroed beers, and what I mean by nitro beer is when you go and get like a Guinness draft in the can, and it's got that really small bubbles, and there's none of that bitey carbonation. That's because they're using nitrogen instead of carbon dioxide to go and carbonate the beer, and that's to sort of emulate the kind of carbonation that one gets in a traditional British cask ale. That said, a lot of people say that it's really not like a cask ale at all. It just kind of, sort of is. Don't know. Haven't ever tried a true cask ale. And honestly, I don't think very many beer lovers outside of Great Britain have tried a true cask ale. It's really uncharted territory in craft beer land, and I think part of the reason that is just because of the space concerns and the fact that cask ales tend to be on the lighter side. It's easier just to go and nitrogenate something and say it was like a cask ale. Definitely getting a lot more sweeter notes as it warms up. The chocolate is longer lasting compared to that sort of bitter espresso. Chocolate covered espresso beans. But that really could describe pretty much almost any Russian Imperial Stout. It's just the quality of chocolate and the quality of bean, really. So nothing really out of the ordinary here. Just a very well made, very well done Russian Imperial Stout, which has no real flaws that you would find in some Imperial Stouts. That of being too thick, or that of being too boozy. You're getting all the flavors that you want in an Imperial Stout, with some nice little added nuances that kind of make it their own. And being that this isn't a super expensive one, a 4-pack costs about under $12 here in Hawaii, probably costs under about $10 in the mainland, where most of you guys are. It's one that I definitely recommend. If you're on the West Coast, I don't think they distribute on the East Coast, but then you get a lot of other great Imperial Stouts on the East Coast that I'll never see. So, here's to that mad Siberian mystic. Here's to Christmas. Though not necessarily the Orthodox Christmas that this guy would celebrate. And wishing you all the best of the seasons. Prost, and good night.